Welcome back to our live show. Our next guest is a certified professional organizer and is an expert at helping students get on the right track for a successful school year. Perfect timing to have Kathy Jenkins here to share some tips that will have your student on the road to academic success and give you some guidelines to help get and keep them on track. Hi, Kathy.
Hi.
I guess the first thing we have to realize is that not all children are the same, and we have to kind of help them conform, but let them have their individuality as well.
Exactly. And that's sort of a challenge for students, right? Because we're given we parents are given a list of what students need to buy to get ready for school, and we dutifully go out and buy all of these things, and then the students are asked to put them in play, but not everybody thinks the same, right? You and I don't think the same, and students are the same way. And so they sometimes have a challenge conforming to what they're being asked to use in terms of time management, paper management systems. Yeah.
So maybe what we should do is not go out and buy those school supplies right off the bat. Maybe wait and see what the kids really and truly need once they actually get into class.
Perhaps, but maybe a different approach would be to actually talk with our students and say, how do you see this working for you, right? So some kids are great binder kids, right?
And I loved my binders.
Right, they do really. Oh, I love my binders too. But a lot of boys, right? Because they think differently. Women and men think differently physiologically. That's why. But a lot of kids aren't necessarily binder kids. So asking them, okay, so if this isn't going to work for you, what do you see working for you? What worked for you in another grade? How do you see yourself using it? And especially as kids move from middle school to high school, depending on whether they have school classes on, A days or Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays versus Tuesdays and Thursdays, that all changes. And it's about encouraging them to kind of explore within themselves what works for them.
But don't we kind of have to know what the teachers want too?
Oh, exactly, exactly. Because you'll have some teachers, my son took German, and his teacher was hard and fast about you will have a German binder and it cannot be included in anything else. And so you have to respect that, right? Because the teachers do have some rules and they have reasons for their rules. But it's about encouraging our kids to really think about what might work for them, because it needs to go beyond academics. It needs to go beyond school. It needs to go into the workplace so they can figure out in the workplace what works for me to keep myself organized.
Right, and organization is a huge thing.
It is.
And starting young is a good thing. And the binders inherently give you some tools to do that. We've got the tabs that we always use and things like that. You mentioned time management. That is a huge thing, because the first thing we've got to do is get the kids back to used to getting up early.
Exactly, exactly. So if you haven't already started, certainly next week, especially if your school starts right after Labor Day, you need to start putting into play, parents, getting your kids used to that nighttime routine, right? Going to bed at the appropriate time. And that's a bit of a challenge for our teenagers, because their rhythm is starting to change. So we all as teenagers wanted to stay up later and go to school later, but it doesn't work that way. So you can kind of trick your body into feeling tired if you put together a nighttime routine. So maybe it's about taking a shower, reading a book, and then falling asleep. And so if you consistently do that routine, it's that the beginning of it is sort of the trigger that says, okay, this is my routine to fall asleep, so I need to start getting tired and falling asleep. So you can kind of overcome that a little bit.
And again, that's when you need to have a conversation, because everybody's an individual when it comes to what they need to kind of wind down for the night.
Exactly, exactly, yeah.
So clocks and time and things that keep us on management.
Right, and for school, timers are really important. Timing how long you're doing homework. One of the really great things parents can do right off the bat, helping kids with time management, is asking them every day, do you have homework? How long do you think it's going to take? Having them start to really think about, well, gosh, math is a little tougher subject for me. Maybe I need to set aside 45 minutes to get my math done instead of 15, right? Having them really start being conscious and thinking about that. And then what is your plan for getting it done? Right? How do you plan on getting it done? And encouraging them to think through what will work for them, rather than barking out the orders. All right, sit down and do your math. Sit down and do your English, right?
And as a parent, I guess we have to say, what can I do to help you handle this?
Exactly, exactly, right? And encouraging them, if you need help, ask for help, but otherwise trusting that they're going to be able to put a plan in place, because that builds confidence in them, that they know what works for them, they know how to plan it for themselves.
Well, before we let you go, any one last good tip that we need to know as we, some kids are already back in school and others are getting ready to go?
Right. So routines. Routines are really important. And another thing would be that big family meeting. Now, I'm not talking about sitting down with a gavel, we'll bring this meeting to order. It's about setting aside time. I like to do it on the weekends, saying, okay, what do we have on tap for next week? What does our schedule look like? Because kids are busy, parents are busy, and it will just make it go so much smoother if we all sort of talk it through and put together a plan and be organized.
Have that plan is the big thing. Kathy Jenkins, thanks so much for joining us
today. Thank you so much for having me.
Some great tips.